That is about the response I expected. Well done. No liars in the audience tonight. I appreciate it. All right, Blaze, we're going to start the timer in 3, in 2, in 1. Let's get it on. Now, I just had a really funny thought that I should have gone through with. If I never told Blaze when to start the timer, I could have a run that looked really good here on the PAX stage, even though it was absolutely terrible. I'm regretting not doing that. So this is Final Fantasy Type-0. It is an action RPG set in the Final Fantasy XIII universe, part of the Fabula Nova Crystallis series of games that went absolutely nowhere because, frankly, people didn't like them. However, this game's honestly a hidden gem. It was available originally on the PSP, then it was ported to the PlayStation 4, and finally to the PC as the HD remake, which is what I will be playing today, though all of the games are fairly similar. Now, while this game is fun and fast-paced and I have a lot to talk about, there are some portions of downtime during the run. Like right here, where I am just going to sit here until this bird creature goes away in about 2 minutes or so. Not terribly interesting, so I thought we'd make this a little bit more fun, get a little bit of audience interaction here. If you have a question for me about Final Fantasy Type-0, first off, no you don't. Nobody has a question about Type-0. But, you know, about anything, speedrunning, prizes, life in general. Put your hand up and my wonderful assistant will come by, take your question, and when I have time for some questions, sit down with me and we'll have a quick chat. But hopefully, I have not miscalculated how long this takes, and we'll be able to move on here very shortly. So this is our protagonist, Ace. He has cards. They are not relevant to the speedrun. They are not relevant to casual play. Don't worry about Ace. He is irrelevant. However, he is very cool aesthetically. I like the shoulder cape. Shoulder capes need to come back into fashion. Coming up here is the first example of the main combat mechanic in Type-0, which are break sights and kill sights. Now, when you target an enemy here, they can glow either yellow or red. And if you hit them while they are yellow or red, as I will hopefully not do here and look very silly. Yep. There we go. They will instantly die if it's red, and if it's yellow, they will take a massive burst of damage based on a percentage of their health. Oh. Come on, game. There we go. These are very important to the speedrun and to killing a lot of stronger enemies because we are going to be about somewhere in the realm of 10 to 30 levels under-leveled for most of this speedrun. It's going to be rough, but luckily we've got some pretty safe strats to get us through. We have 12 different playable characters for the majority of this run, 14 for a part of it, all different members of Class 0. They all have their own weapons, their own fighting style, their own abilities, and most of them are completely irrelevant, but I'll point out the ones that are at least interesting so we can all pretend to know something about Final Fantasy Type-0, like I do every day in the Discord. There is a Final Fantasy Type-0 Discord channel in the Final Fantasy speedrunning Discord server. Feel free to hop in there and ask all 6 of us how much we like Type-0. We like it a lot, actually. It's a really fun game. So with spells in this game, if your character has a high enough magic level in the associated element, you can hold down the spell to charge it to the next level. So Blizzard Bomb here could become Blizzara Bomb or Blizzaga Bomb, but unfortunately Ace does not have a high enough ice magic level, so he cannot get to that next range. However, you will see Queen at several points in this demo level charge up to Thundara Shotgun, which does a bit more damage and has a bit more lightning spread, which is why I will be swapping to her to fight some of the mech enemies we see, like right now. And if you look at the bottom right there, you'll see Thunder Shotguns charging up. Now it's Thundara Shotgun. Now, a fun little thing about this game is that the enemy units actually have commanders, and when a commander is defeated on a screen, the remaining troops who are alive will actually surrender to the party, and you can talk to them to get items from them. We thought this was completely irrelevant, but it turns out this is super useful to the run because they can give you some very powerful buff items that are going to help later. I'm going to want to get as many of those as I possibly can in these early levels. Only getting one there is honestly a little bit of a disappointment, but we'll make up for it later, don't worry. Now, coming up here, we have something that's just a little bit of fun in the community. We are going to very briefly be controlling Odin and have access to Zentetsuken, his instant kill ability. In this game, it works off of a percentage system, so I'm going to fire off a 20% just for fun, because if it happens, you know what? Then this is the run and everything is great. And if it doesn't, well, you know what? It's a marathon run. It doesn't matter. You're allowed to miss. Oh my, okay. Cool, fight's over. Yeah, that was not supposed to actually work, so I'm already hating this run. I wanted this to be a train wreck. Come on, game, be mean to me. That's what I signed up for. So here's the second part of the boss fight. You can see we're going to hit another one of those sites there. I'm going to go ahead and swap to deplete her health pool completely. Then I'm going to charge up a Blizzara bomb here. While this little cutscene animation plays, her health's going to refill. We're going to burn it down completely, and then we will finish her off. Bosses in this game usually can only be defeated by actually hitting a kill site on them. As you can see, even though she has 0 health, the fight isn't over. This is annoying because if your allies hit a kill site, not only do they not trigger it, it goes away, and you have to wait for it to pop up again. So the AI is fond of trolling, and we will probably see that later on some of the other bosses. Under 5-minute first mission, that's actually quite good. Again, game, I needed you to be mean to me. I came here for a train wreck. So our group belongs to Academia, which is part of the Red Phoenix Nation here in the world of Orient. It is a military school. We are all military cadets, and we are members of Class 0 specifically. Now, I'm not going to go too much into the story, but the basic idea of the story is that Class 0 is kind of this close-knit group of friends who were raised together from different families as a single continuous fighting unit by their mother, who they call by a doctor who they call their mother. And there's a lot of plot and lore behind them, but you don't need to worry too much about it. Just keep the ideas of brotherhood, camaraderie, and wartime in your mind, and you'll probably get most of what's going on during this game, at least until the demons attack. Nobody expects the demons to attack. Got a bunch of cutscenes to skip through here, unfortunately. This is Class 0 kind of meeting their new superior officer, who turns out to be Kakashi from Naruto. Don't know how he got into the franchise, but I mean, he's looking real good, so I gotta appreciate that. And he really calms the kids down, reminds them that, there are stronger people in the world than 12-year-olds. I have no idea how old these characters are. I'm just kind of assuming. Anyway, we have our first actual menu here, so I'm going to take a minute and not mess it up. Hopefully. I've messed it up. Excellent. So we want to swap you with you. We have messed the menu up. Everything has gone terrible. It's fine. This is recoverable. Go ahead and swap these characters here and these characters here. Armaments, we're going to go ahead and get rid of fire rifle, because fire rifle is terrible. We don't want that on any of our characters. Promotions, we want to make sure that Sice has accelerate. Accelerate makes you go faster. If you believe it or not, that is really good in a speed run. We also swapped over to Sice because all of the cadets have different weapons, different movesets, different actions in combat, as well as a different movement speed with their weapon holstered, with their weapon drawn. And for whatever reason, 6 here is slightly faster than all of the other characters in town. Nobody else has a unique movement speed in town. It is just her. So what we've done there is this game has a Persona-like time system where between missions you have a certain amount of time to hang out with your friends, do side quests, roam the world, get experience, really do whatever you want. We don't want to do any of that, so before every mission we're going to go talk to our commanding officer and be like, hey, send us on the mission. We don't want to do any of the friend stuff. And just like that, we are off to our first mission. Now, what we are hoping for here is to see Rem or Kater primed for this mission. Priming is something that randomly happens to your party members when you sign them up for missions. It doubles their stats, and it is, frankly, a huge benefit if the right character gets it. However, as far as we know, at least, there's no way to guarantee someone getting it or not. I believe the latest research indicates that low-level characters are more likely to get it. Wow, 1 character primed. I think that is the least I have ever seen. Impressive. Thanks, game. That's what I was looking for. So here we have Rem. She's a new addition to Class 0, but she's pretty cool, mainly because her main form of movement is Torpedo. I don't know what else to call this. Psycho Crusher, perhaps? This is the fastest way to move, at least for the moment, until we can get Accelerate on some more of our characters. So please enjoy Rim spiraling towards our destiny. If we did get Rim primed here, we would be able to break these barricades with one magic bomb and would not get... Oh, okay, cool. And would not have to worry about the turrets shooting us there. Unfortunately, because Rim wasn't primed, those turrets are just known to absolutely ruin your day. We do need to kill the leader here in this room. Leaders notoriously like to dodge and have a ton of iframes while dodging. You can put down Blizzard Bomb in a way where even at the maximum range and maximum duration of the dodge, they still get hit, but it requires a bit of prediction or backing them into a corner. Both of which can be difficult. Now, unfortunately, because Rim wasn't primed, I don't have a lot of MP here, which means this fight against this mech is going to be a little harder. Especially because I missed that break site with Jack. Jack is our resident samurai. He's going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting during this run, mainly because he is just like twice as strong as any other character for seemingly no reason. And once again, I want to take the opportunity to see if I can find any soldiers and get items from them. But because that unfortunately took so long, they're not going to show up. 125 is actually not a terrible time for a non-primed run, so I'm okay with that. And after each mission, we're going to need to return to Academia. Usually the game will do that for us. However, sometimes we might have to do it manually from the menu. And the reason we put Seiss at the bottom of our menu list there is so that we can always quickly swap to her because, again, she is by far the fastest character moving through Academia. Now, the route has actually changed a lot over the years with how much experience that we've taken. We used to take 3 of these experience lectures, which put our party in the mid-30s. We then dropped that to 2. We are currently using a route that only takes 1 experience lecture, if the game will let me take it. But people are actually testing right now in the Discord the idea of doing a 0 experience route lecture, which is a little scary, but potentially could put the enemies in the final area down to level 1 because of how level scaling in this game works, which would be a fairly huge time save overall. Now what's going on here is we are about to engage in our first RTA segment. So this game, in addition to having this third-person action combat gameplay, actually has a little RTS built into it, where you can command your troops and build supply lines and move from city to city until you capture the target. We're not doing it. There's a built-in option in the HD version of the game to say, I do not want to play this segment of gameplay. That is how hated it was in the console versions. And I am so grateful for that, because if that wasn't there, this run would be about 2 hours longer. They are really tedious. We're not doing that. But hey, we get to see a little bit more of Ace, and we get to see the best part of any Final Fantasy game, the Chocobo Branch, where we can, raise our different chocobos and get different kinds of chocobos and learn all about chocobos and all the fun things. And we're done with we're never going back to the Chocobo Ranch. We got our chocobo. We're out. So we are going to move on to our next mission. Ace is a bit slower in the hallway, but it turns out it is just faster to walk up here, say, hey, we'd like to go and fight our next mission already. If I menu properly, that does help. And then just swap back to 6 in the hallway afterwards. We also need to do a little bit of menuing to prepare for that mission, so it's a great time for it anyway. But first, Mother has to tell us about another feature that we won't be using in this speedrun. You can customize your spells. I wish we had a use for it because it's super cool. I always forget that. Abilities, please. So we are going to get Accelerate for Kater, because Kater is going to be the character we move with for most of the run. Machina is largely thought to be a completely useless character, but he is the best character in the game at destroying stationary objects. You think that's a joke, that is actually a useful trait of his that we will be exploiting soon. And finally, we have Rem, who is genuinely a really strong character. I think she has the 2nd highest stat of all offensive magic types, but unfortunately leaves the party so often that you can't really rely on her for anything. A little bit of a cutscene here. You might notice me menuing a little slow whenever I talk to the commander. That is because there's a Tonberry on his desk. That is the only Tonberry in the entire 13 universe, apparently. And if Seiss talks to that Tonberry, she will talk to it for about 30 seconds in an unskippable little cutscene where she goes, "You're pretty cool." And you know what? I agree, Seiss. That Tonberry, it's pretty cool. The game has to take about 30 seconds here warning us that there are monsters roaming the plains. The game really doesn't appropriately impress upon you that those monsters are level 99 at the start of the game. Do not run into the random encounters in this game. They will kill you. You've had enough of my voice. Please enjoy the Chocobo song. Okay, enough Chocobo song. Whoop. Okay, hold on. You. I'm glad I noticed that early. My menuing was wrong. I will have to fix that the next time I menu. But now we have true torpedo mode. We can just go full torpedo the entire stage, and it is great. So what we got right there was a secret order, or an SO. They will pop up and give you a little bit of a buff, give you a reward if you complete the objective, but if you fail the objective, they will try to kill your active character. Unfortunately for them, most of the time we can just leave the screen and take the buff they give. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. Like right now I have Invincible from it, so I can just be invincible while Machina does his thing and destroys a wall. Way to go, Machina. That is your entire job. You've done it. Like I said earlier, Jack is really kind of a workhorse of the speedrun. I got free cast. You can get free cast or trance there. Trance is much stronger for Jack. Free cast lets you obviously cast spells for free. Though if you have a caster who is primed here, they can get some good use out of it. Jack makes short work of all the Machina, and we can just move on forward with Rem. Who can take down an airplane in 2 thunder shots. Don't worry about it. That's perfectly normal. If you're really lucky, all 4 of those soldiers will stand in such a way where you can hit all of them with 1 blizzard. I am not. Oh, good job, Machina. Another stationary target defeated. Really earning your keep. Machina will be in the party the least of any character. So this screen looks like you're supposed to destroy those imposing mechs, but actually you just stand at this door for about 10 seconds and there we go. All right, screen beaten. Now, Rim has a very weird quirk to her where, for some reason, her and only her, she'll put away her weapons when you swap off of her as a character. I don't know why. I'm really not sure what that's about, but it's a very annoying quirk that I admittedly forget about way too much. Once again, we've got a stationary target. We've got Machina. Problem solved. All right, you know what? I'm not really enjoying the speedrun, everyone. I think this is pretty over. I'm just going to go ahead and go back to title. So for whatever reason, this skips that cutscene and just goes straight into the fight. This is the only place that does anything. I have no idea why. Wow, I have 1 first aid kit. This run's going to be a train wreck. Let's go. But hey, at least Kator's dead. This is General Kator Beshtar. He is an important character in the story that we are not going to talk about, except for the fact that at the end of the game, he flies the Ultima Bomb into space. The cutscenes in this game are ridiculous. You should probably play this game if it looks at all interesting to you. All right. Couldn't remember. I'll be honest, could not remember if I had to manually go back to academia after that. It all gets a little blurry. Most of the academia segments really start to look like the same thing after a little while, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. As a reminder, I will have some time to do a bit of a Q&A later in the run. There will be some extended periods of downtime of a couple minutes each, so feel free to put up your hand if you have a question that you would like me to potentially answer. This exchange is especially annoying because we have to go in there to talk to our commander to say, oh, hey, yeah, we'd like to learn how to use summon magic. We have to walk out the door, and then we have to go back in and talk to our commander and be like, okay, yeah, actually, we're ready for the next mission, please. Sorry, we have to talk to them twice. I forgot. There's a couple of points like that in the game where you need to talk to an NPC twice to get them to actually do the thing that they're supposed to do. Not sure why, but again, this is a PSP game from like 2001. We don't ask questions, we just play Type-0. Oh, I did it. Yep. We might get along, Tonberry. We might just get along. All right, now we finally get to take advantage of the airship system in the game. The airship system is fast travel, and it's actually very useful playing the game normally. It lets you go around the world. It lets you go to several exclusive areas that you can't get into otherwise. But for our purposes, we're mostly going to talk to the flight attendant and mash A because for whatever reason, this is the one prompt that starts on yes. We need to walk away from the city to go into the city. Don't ask how that works. It just does. Trust me. Gonna go over here and buy 6 amulets. Amulets? I don't know what that word is. Don't worry about it. We're gonna buy them. We're gonna equip them. That's all that matters. Why do we need 6 amulets? Well, 6 because that's exactly how many we can buy, and that is faster to menu than buying 4. And because technically we can get some use out of the third person we equip them to. Rim is going to be the main character using magic through the run. Katter is just gonna be the main character we're using, so having her have some stronger magic is good. And Queen will see a little bit of use very late into the run, so giving her an additional 40 MP and 20 magic is not a bad idea. Oh, sorry, 5 seconds of Chocobo music. You gotta enjoy it while you can. That's enough Chocobo music. So here the game finally asks us to choose a squad maneuver. There are a couple of different options, but we will basically be choosing Eidolons whenever possible. One of the Eidolons you're going to learn is kind of ridiculous. We used to be able to summon her right there. However, somebody realized that if you just go in and out the door, the water finishes draining because the PSP is not a strong enough system to keep track of it. There's a later point in the run where you can actually use that as well. However, we discovered several years ago and then rediscovered about 4 days ago that doing it can soft lock the game, so I'm not going to be doing that today at PAX. I already expect my run to be bad enough. I'd like it to at least finish. So here we need to run through these sewers and place these lovely little fun crystals on all of these giant gear pillars. I'm genuinely not sure what we're supposed to be doing, but I think the end result is we've somehow jammed the enemy's communications. There's probably lore behind it, and as the resident lore master of this game, I don't really care, so nobody knows. We also, only a few days ago, recently learned that getting Accelerate for the Eidolon that we'll be using only boosts her speed by about 2% or something, compared to the rest of the cast where it boosts it by about 30. Again, no idea why that's the case. Seems like a weird quirk of the system. But as a result, we have definitively not gotten it anymore. And now we finally see her. We've got Roller Disco Derby Shiva. She is going to be dashing down enemies for this entire run. And oh, wow, the Shock Trooper was kind to me. Shielded enemies can block anything. I mean anything. They can block Ultima. Do not ask how. Nobody knows. Their shields are indestructible. Thankfully, that one decided to play along, and now we can run through the rest of the sewers. As soon as the door opens. There we go. Thank you, door. I'm glad the door is watching the stream. Shoutouts to the door. So I actually find it easier to defeat the shield enemies as a character, on foot, as opposed to Shiva. So I swap off early there, although you absolutely don't have to. You can stick on Shiva and just use Shiva's ridiculous health pool and abilities to take it out. But also, your AI isn't very smart. They have a habit of getting poisoned here, and that poison will eventually kill them. And we really do not want Catcher to die because she is very fast, and we are speedrunners. At least that is what we tell ourselves. I'm a speedrunner. I believe I'm a speedrunner. I am not an actor GDQ hires for events. Not yet, anyway. This actually would have been a great point for a question, but I wasn't thinking about it. Sorry to my helper for that. Completely slipped my mind. But now we're going through with the rest of the sewers, so everything is good. A lot of my party seems dead. I'm glad I took some extra characters. So, fun fact, this game does not autosave. This game does nothing friendly for you. If I die, the run is over. Be prepared for that. It could happen at any minute, production. It could happen right now. It actually can't happen right now. The run is fairly safe until later on, and I probably will be making a safety save or two for the absolute worst parts of it. But unfortunately, the game is very brutal in that it does not autosave in any capacity. So a lot of doors in the game don't open until the enemies are not only defeated, but their bodies are gone, either by despawning or harvesting their Phantoma, which is why sometimes you'll see me targeting enemies and using an action command on them. That is just to get them completely despawned so that the next wave of enemies can spawn, or whatever needs to happen can happen. Yeah, unfortunately, because Jack is dead here, I'm going to have Ace cast Blizzard, but thankfully Ace knows how to do that, so we're good. Thanks, Ace. Type-0 is a really fun game to speedrun, honestly. I know I'm making it look less than great, but one of the coolest parts of the game is that it is all on-the-fly routing. We have a plan, and that plan works great when it works. And when it doesn't, you just have to start making stuff up and hoping that it works. And that's just really fun. And, sometimes as a result of that, the run just doesn't finish. But again, I'm going to be playing it safe today. We're going to see the end of the game. Probably. Either that or we're going to go get some dinner together. Yeah, just everyone. That's fine. Come on, game. Let me target. There we go. And that is the end of that mission. If we are under a solid, 4 or 5 minutes, yeah, that's not terrible. I am okay with that time. I forgot what the target time for that stage was, so I'm just making things up in front of the camera. But luckily, you all don't know it either, so you have to believe me. Now, one of the kind of cool things is that you can freely toggle between 1x, 2x, and 3x movement in the HD remake of the game. Shiva is too fast to control natively at 3x movement in a lot of scenarios. She will just go flying off in a random direction and be completely uncontrollable. So frequently you'll see me swap back to 1x or 2x speed for strategies to more consistently hit enemies. The challenge there is remembering to swap back to 3x speed because the cadets are painfully slow at their base speed. This mission briefing is a cutscene for some reason. No, I don't know why. No, I don't know who I just talked to. Don't worry about it. We're going to go ahead and fix a little bit of a swap here. There we go. Don't know how I messed my menu up that badly, but I sure did, and I need to fix it now before it causes problems later. Again, on-the-fly routing when things go wrong. I never said that things going wrong couldn't be the fault of the person behind the controller. They frequently are the fault of the person behind the controller. All right, everyone, enjoy your 5 seconds of Chocobo music. And that's enough Chocobo music. So here we're going to pick up a couple of useful items. A blaster for Kater, a teleport stone, which is a special tool that's going to help us later, and the Murasame for Jack. I'm going to go ahead and equip both of them with those, and that's going to make this next mission a little bit easier, just give them a little bit of a higher damage range. Does it actually matter? I'll be honest, I really don't know, but I like to pretend that it does since the shop is right there. Now, this is a fun little section where we're piloting a stolen enemy mech, and we need to make it to the base, but the problem is the mech only has a limited amount of fuel, so we need to run to the fuel canisters along the way. Otherwise, we're going to run out of fuel before we get there, and we're not going to be able to start the mission, and the developers did not intend for you to just walk straight to the base. I'm bringing a lot of extra characters here. Why? Because this mission can go wrong, and because this is a marathon run, and because I'm bad. What other reason do you need? Don't worry about it. If you want to see Too Fast to Control, though, may I introduce you to Sonic? Beep, beep. We have outrun the game. We just need to sit here and wait for this door to open. Game? Game? Would you like to open? Thank you. Yeah, you can move so fast with haste that you outrun the triggers for the game, and sometimes that door won't open. It's kind of a problem, but it's so funny that we don't have a workaround for it. All right, now it's time to sneak through the enemy base, and we need to be, very tactful and ingenuitive as we get through here, or we could just be really fast and trigger every alarm because, these enemies can't do anything to us. And it's way easier that way. Oh, come on. No, don't fire your gun, Kater. You need to use the computer. These cutscenes are skippable. We don't know how. Only sometimes. If anyone ever figures it out, please tell us. We'd love to know. So we picked up an invisible effect off of a secret order there. That is going to make getting through the rest of these really easy because if the enemies can't see us, they can't trip the alarm. Now, the only downside to that is we do need to hit an enemy with one of our weapons or magic before the alarm is targetable. The alarm is actually invincible until people need it. I do not know why it works like that, but it certainly does. So we're going to try and hit the enemy with the key card and then go pop the alarm and then go hit the computer terminal in each of these areas. This base is actually really interestingly interconnected. It reminds me a lot of like a Metal Gear Solid area. There are faster and slower routes through it, but honestly, it's usually best to just do whatever gets you there. In this case, that guy has the key card, so I get it after I trigger the alarm vulnerability. So what we are doing is diverting power from the Empire's new weapon, Brianak. If any of you play Final Fantasy XIV and enjoy Bozja and are wondering where that giant robot came from in Castrum, it's not an original creation. It comes from Type-0. You might think it was. I wouldn't blame you. I did for a little while, and I've played this game. Now, you'll notice that Trey is almost dead, and there's an important distinction there because he's almost dead, which means he's not dead, and that's good enough for us. Now he's actually dead, but for good. Thank you, Trey, for summoning Roller Disco Derby Robot Shiva. I forgot what her name was. I forgot what her fake name was. It doesn't matter because she one-shots everything. That is why we use Shiva. Robots, Shiva. Bullets, Kater's dead. That's not Shiva. That's why we don't use bullets, we use Shiva. Kater being dead here is actually kind of a problem. Like I said, this game can just decide it doesn't like you. Speaking of, hey look, it's a shield guy. That only took like 6 attacks. That's generous of the shield guy. Everyone thank the shield guy. Thank you, audience. I'm glad you're willing to play along with my stupidity. Statistically, somebody has to be. So So we're going to spend most of these rooms just kind of clearing things out with Shiva. Depending on how long the shield guy delayed me in that previous room, I might run out of Shiva before this room runs out of people. Hopefully that's not the case, but I still do have Jack alive. So if it does come to be, I can equip Jack. Normally the backup there is Catter with Blizzard Bomb. The game did not want that to happen, and sometimes we just got to accept that. We want to swap off Shiva here because Shiva will despawn in all safe zones. And if you are controlling an Eidolon when they despawn, you have to sit around and watch their despawn animation, which is very slow and very unfun. Anyway, Machina is going to do the most important thing he does in the entire run here. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Thanks, Machina. That's what we needed you for. Somebody has to tank this guy coming in and killing one of your party members. Machina is the best man for the job. Oh, 8's primed. That's actually really good. 8 usually is a pretty terrible magic user, but priming does give him, you know, pretty solid magic overall and a good MP pool to work with. And because of that, I am willing to just try and run past these shield guys and take them out with 8. Oh, no. Okay, well, we're going to have to summon. If you can dodge behind them and hit both of them really quick with a Blizzard Bomb, that is, frankly, I think the preferred way to do this room. But sometimes shield guys are shield guys, and they say no. And that's okay. You just gotta roll with the punches. That's what Type-0 is all about. Also, war. Type-0 is about war primarily. It really isn't about rolling with the punches. There's a great example of being on an Eidolon when we enter a safe zone. I did that to show you all what happens, and not because I was distracted by the sound of my own voice. So once again here, we have a mech problem, and there's only one tool we have to solve it. You guessed right, it's time for Shiva. Dance Dance Revolution style. And after we defeat this mech, we're going to have to stop several of their soldiers for getting into some more mechs. So Ray, now is actually a pretty good time if you want to come ask me a question. Oh, I like the Quagsire.
Hello. I think I've got a microphone now. Yeah, hello.
Yep.
The first question is extremely important from a certain Jaxler1. Would you like Gibby to join you on commentary?
You know what? I'd love Gibby to join me on commentary. I was actually thinking about asking Jaxler before the run, but I didn't work up the courage to do so.
All right. So once we're done with questions, you'll have Gibby here. All right. But actual questions. What's the best prize of any kind that you've ever won?
Oh, people ask this question a lot, and it's such a hard question to answer, mostly because it's a question of like, what do I think the coolest thing, we've had is versus...
No, that you have won in any contest.
Oh, that I have won?
Yes.
I have never actually won No, that's not true. I won a shirt from an old game called Gigantic, which doesn't exist anymore, but it was a real cool shirt, and it was a real cool game, and yeah, I won it at PAX, actually.
Nice.
Now, I forgot to put the rest of the party away for this boss fight, so this is going to be a little awkward, and I'm going to need a minute, Ray. Sorry about that. So this is number 277, Brionaku, as he screams. The idea is we want to hit Brionak when he is break siding. Now, this fight used to be really challenging until we figured out that you can just hide in the back corner of this room and Brionak's attacks can't hit you. That does kind of make it a little easier. You do have to actually get into the corner of the room, though. Now, ideally, you want to hit enough break sites that, yeah, he just falls over right here, and he's just going to reveal the cockpit, and we can blow him up. And, yeah, now's a great time for questions because this fight is completely over. Give me some more, Ray.
All right, we have an actual question from Jaxler.
Yo, what's up, Jaxler?
What should Jaxler1 get for food tonight?
Ooh, I haven't eaten dinner either, Jaxler, so I've been thinking about that myself. I've heard there's a lot of good ramen places around here. How do you feel about ramen?
How do you feel about ramen? You don't like ramen? No, he doesn't like ramen.
Well, that's just a bad opinion, and you're allowed to have those. Anyway, this was our boss fight with Nimbus. Nimbus is a level 146 Lassie. The final boss is level 99. We are not fighting Nimbus. We are just going to die. Thankfully, that still triggers the ending cutscene for this stage, so it works out.
You got time for one more?
Yeah, sure. You know what? We've got some cutscenes to go through.
I've got a question from someone. I think you can figure out who it's from. Who's your favorite games committee member, and why is it Brian Otto?
Ooh, that's a great question from Brian Otto. My favorite games committee member. Oh, I feel like that's a trick question. If you don't say yourself, then are you just really self-deprecating?
Maybe modest?
This is true. I love working with the committee as a whole. I'm going to give it to my good friend Pwexel, who I have learned RPGs under, an absolute pillar of the community and a great dude, runs his own RPG marathon. So thank you so much, Pwexel. Bri, I love you too. Don't worry, bud.
All right, I think it's time to leave you with Gibby now.
It is time. Thank you so much for Gibby Jaxler. I assumed so. I didn't think it was to keep. Hopefully I deployed enough squad members. I wasn't looking because I was talking about a stuffed Quagsire. It's probably fine. Don't worry about it, everyone. All right, so at the start here, we're just gonna move through this hotel. And we're gonna pick up this haste SO and suddenly become completely uncontrollable. I've frankly thought about not getting that SO sometimes just because it makes hitting the restore point there to get Catter's mana back kind of difficult. Weirdly enough, Eidolons are actually not affected by party status effects. So even though my party has haste, even if my party were to get haste with Shiva as the active character, Shiva would not benefit from haste. And that soldier really wanted to hide behind a truck. I do not blame them. The truck is safe. Here we have our greatest enemy, a commander shield enemy. It has all the health of the commander and all the shield of an enemy. Thankfully, he ran into a wall. I appreciate when they run into a wall. Otherwise, it gets really rough. Here we need to do enough damage to Commander Piet for him to run off. It looks like he did. We'll be dealing with him at the end of the level, but until then, he'll pop up a few times and be annoying. Here's a great example of how long Shiva's hitboxes can just kind of linger. There's going to be a bunch of enemies kind of jumping out of this airship above us, and if I just use Shiva's side attack, they'll just get frozen as they fall, which is frankly super convenient. Don't even have to think, can just let it happen. Here we have another area where we need to get rid of all of the enemies. These Colossi can have more health than we can do in a single hit, depending on how many of the side attack hits actually hit them versus the other enemies, and if any of them crit. But wow, I actually got really lucky and took both of them out in a single hit, so that's awesome. Now we're going to move down into the tunnels section of the run. There's some cool stuff going on in the tunnels here, and an important enemy that we need to kill very efficiently, or we're going to lose about, I think it's 4 or 5 minutes. It's a pretty mean trick the game plays on you. There's going to be one of these commanders that starts the encounter by just running out of the zone. And if you do not get them before they leave the zone, you have to move back 4 or 5 zones, clear a couple of waves of enemies and take them out. It's this game is usually pretty kind, and that is like the one dirty trick it pulls throughout the entire runtime. That and, just deciding to randomly kill off a bunch of your characters. But, that's what it's trying to do. I can't blame it for that. So here we have a bunch of alternating screens of needing to hit the commanders and not. You can see in the upper left there, I'm toggling down to 1x speed to make sure that I don't fly past the commanders and not get rid of them, and then toggling back up to 3x for movement, and there we go. I did get the commander. We are not losing a billion years. I did not hit the door switch though. 1 for 2, I'll take it. This is a safe zone, which again despawns the Eidolons, but that actually works in our favor here in kind of a weird way. Because we really want 7 for this screen, and otherwise it'd be kind of hard to get her out. But it just so happens that, hey, there's a safe zone there. We can use it to grab her, and come on. There we go. Why can 7 teleport enemies to you? Because she has a whip blade. Why does a whip blade let you do that? Why are you asking? That's not my problem if you're curious. It's a whip blade. Anyway, 7 has done her duty for the mission, so we're going to go ahead and summon Shiva again. Now, if we are very lucky, that mechanical soldier that's flying in is going to park right above us, and we're just going to be able to do a side attack and immediately take it out. And hey, that actually happened. Normally when I say that, the soldier just goes to Narnia. So I'll take what I can get. Oh yeah, there's a combat ration hidden in that crate. I genuinely forgot that was there. Oh, I didn't get off. You need to do that side attack and then immediately swap characters there, because once the last enemy is defeated, you lose the opportunity, and this next area is a safe zone, which means you can no longer do so. I did not bring a ton of extra characters, so I am going to make a safety save here because there is a non-zero chance that my characters could meet an unfortunate end, and so would the run. So Rim has gotten a little stronger since we've last used her. She actually has enough ice magic level now to cast Blizzaga Bomb, which gets its one and only use in the run in this room. And in fact, this is, I think, really the last time we see Rem in the run. Really fun character, again, just for plot reasons, disappears. Yep, you see Blizzara charging up there at the bottom. We're going to hold it for Blizzaga, and hopefully for the other guy to jump out of the truck. Yep, gets all of them. And then we can take the time while this gate is coming down to summon our next use of Shiva. I was not lying. The gate does come down. And if you're really fast, you can get that so that the gate basically doesn't stay down there at all. Now here we have this annoying floating enemy, but again, one well-placed kick, and she's not going to have the chance to fly around. Coming up is a bit of a dangerous section. We're going to run into our first encounter with the boss of this area, Vajra. She's in a very powerful mech, and she will try and jump on you. And if she hits Kata or Jack, they will just instantly die. That is not good for business. You actually don't want to hit her break site here. The only case of it in the game, because if you hit her break site, she will fall on the ground and be sad for like 30 seconds. And we don't need that. We don't need the sadness. Especially because we need her to climb up onto these buildings and start firing missiles down at the party. These missiles are going to blow up these trucks and let us move on to the next area. And hopefully, she is going to choose to target Shiva in that next area. All right, I do the menu late, so this might get a little dicey. I do a menu in this next room rather than earlier, and I forgot that meant I need to delay my Shiva summon. Why? Because now Shiva's going to run out right about here, which you wouldn't think would be a problem, except she's about to just start firing missiles down at us, and they are very painful. Thankfully, she's just doing that for some reason. I have never seen that happen. I'm gonna take it. Thanks, Vajra. You're great. So the menu I didn't do earlier that people have moved to a little bit earlier in the run is to upgrade Jack and Shiva. Shiva gets a little more power and gets to stay out a little longer. Jack, we're going to put all of our points into his reflex upgrades. Now, you haven't seen me use reflex at all in this run as Jack, and you never will. It's bad, but we do have to upgrade it to actually get his good ability, Lightning Flash, which should be available right here after combo bonus. And we're going to go ahead and overwrite reflex, and that is going to be our basic main way of dealing damage as Jack for the rest of the run. Now, I have no first aid kits, I don't think. So we get to see the first enemy that kind of necessitates them in the Snow Giant. The Yeti family of enemies is incredibly powerful, capable of one-shotting my party for the most part. Oh, I did not want to take that SL. Well, we're going to have to play this really safe now, because if the Yeti decides to clap me, I will instantly die due to the effect of that secret order. Thankfully, managed to play it real elusive, and that is what we want to see. I thought that was Jack's health bar for a second and was very scared. We've actually really gotten past the danger zone for this stage, so everything should be good from now on as we swap to Shiva and take care of those flying Aramon-type enemies. We'll do the same with some of these. I got a supply slip. I don't even know what a supply slip is. I'm not sure I've ever seen that there before. I'm not going to worry about it, and we're going to go fight a behemoth. And by we, I mean Shiva, and by fight a behemoth, I mean do this attack until it dies. Good behemoth fight. Katter did die, which isn't great, but I am going to play the risky strategy here and swap to Jack to try and fight Piet here. It's faster because it allows you to... Okay, I'm going to need to think for a second. Can I salvage this? What do we have? We have a Phoenix down? Yeah, we do. Okay, run salvageable. Extra safety save. I'm sure everyone in the Discord is just having a blast watching me do this. I'm having a blast doing it right now. I don't know where that Phoenix down came from. It is a random enemy drop. I very easily could have not had one. So once again, we need to see Vajra here. Doing some damage or hitting a break site causes her to run away and opens up the end of the level for us. In theory, I actually should have put Sync away. There's a chance that she just dies from random enemy fire and I won't be able to complete the level. But realistically, that doesn't happen in this stage. The rest of the enemies are pretty handily dealt with by Shiva, so I'm not, again, absolutely not worried about it. Was never worried about it. This was all for your entertainment, and we're going to go with that if anyone asks, especially the member of GDQ management standing 5 feet to my left. Hi, Worm. Okay, yep, we're good. Again, with no backup characters, sometimes it's better to just be absolutely sure you're going into the safe zone and take the extra second of Shiva despawning rather than risk like, oh, there's that one screen you forgot about and suddenly things are bad. So Vajra is kind of an annoying fight. You need to hit a break site on her before you deplete her health bar, or she will climb a wall and start healing and waste about 30 seconds. So that was actually a textbook fight. I'm really proud of it. I'm not proud of the rest of the stage. Let's see about a 10-minute time overall. Oh, well, actually, that was a perfectly fine stage somehow. I'm not sure how. We're not going to question it. We're just going to move on and be glad that we didn't have to mercy kill only an hour in. We've got plenty of more opportunities for that coming up real soon. And speaking of opportunities, we're going to have an opportunity to take a question here because for the most part, I'm just going to be walking back to base. The story at this point is basically we're behind enemy lines. No one knows kind of what we're doing, and we don't have access to a lot of our resources or chocobos or anything. So Ray, what you got for me?
Hello. I actually have 2 Type-0 questions here for you. I think it's because people called your bluff on not having Type-0 questions.
I am shocked. Hit me with them.
I just want to say thanks to Gibby for doing a great job on commentary first, though. So thanks, Gibby.
Everyone, give a round of applause to Gibby.
So would you like the serious question or the very silly question first?
Your choice.
All right. So we'll go with, of all of the Final Fantasy games, what made you choose Type-0?
I genuinely don't remember. I think I just saw a friend of mine streaming it and was like, this game looks fun, played it casually, learned that there was kind of a tentative speedrun route, but it hadn't really been super refined from the PlayStation days, and was like, you know what? I'm in on this. Let's do it.
All right. And then the second question was, I think in response to your commentary earlier, are Ultima bombs capitalist?
No comment. I genuinely don't know how to answer that one.
These are the energy of some of the questions we're getting from the audience.
I appreciate the audience's energy right now. I'm glad at least one of us is enjoying this video game.
All right, how about a more serious question? What's your favorite PAX memory? Just like out of any PAX.
Oh, my favorite PAX memory? It's hard to pick a single memory, but if I had to pick one, I will say that there was a PAX when I was walking on the show floor, and I was checking out the Final Fantasy XIV booth, which if you haven't, you should. They're upstairs, I guess, on the show floor. They've got the Valigarmanda trial. You should give it a shot.
Fun fight.
It is a fun fight, but. Someone, approached me and was like, "Oh, hey, Sent, you don't know who I am, but I know who you are. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm the director of marketing for Final Fantasy XIV." And I was like, "Oh my God, what?" And it was. I've been starstruck by a lot of people. The amount of people who recognize me is far too high for the nonsense that I do, but I genuinely appreciate it whenever anyone says, "Oh, hey, I know that guy. That's Sent. He does speedruns sometimes." Okay, mostly he does the prize things, but he likes to pretend he can do speedruns, and I'm glad that everyone can support me pretending.
Yeah. I assume that's a common experience for you. You don't know who I am, but I know you.
Also, I will say my biggest weakness is that I'm terrible at putting faces and names together, and I feel awful every time I don't recognize someone that I've met before because I can't.
I just tell people outright that I'm bad at names, and you're gonna have to remind me, and it generally helps because people are also bad at names, and they get nervous about it too. All right, do you have time for one more?
Hold on. We're going to have time for a bunch in 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay.
I lied. We're going to have time for a bunch in 1 minute because this is the portion of the run we call Duck Hunt. Why do we call it Duck Hunt? Ray asked some questions, and I think the audience will figure it out.
All right. Are there any other speedruns you're working on right now or want to get started on?
Working on right now, I'm always playing Magical Poppin' every now and then. It is the game that I just love and go back to and spent way too much money on a physical cart for. Want to get into... There's a bunch of stuff. I've always wanted to do Final Fantasy 13. I learned the run. I did it for a 12-hour challenge, which is a super fun idea that people have had in the past where basically, as a group, you all learn a speedrun in a single 12-hour period using whatever methods are available to you. 13 has amazing notes if you're interested in it, by the way. Probably some of the best notes in the entire speedrunning community. And it's such a cool run. It's such a technical run. And I just never can find the time to squeeze in 6 hours of practice to do it.
It's a tough run.
Other than that, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I look at and I'm like, yeah, I'd love to do this, but I just don't have the time to make it happen these days. Keep going. We're going to defeat this dragon real quick, hopefully, and then it will be 2 more rounds of Duck Hunt because, oh boy, the start of this mission loves Duck Hunt.
Oh, that looked like a boss, so it was just automatically giving you time.
Oh, yeah, no, we summon Shiva, it goes down, and then it's time for more Duck Hunt.
All right. Of course this question was going to come up. I don't know why I'm surprised. Why do they call it oven when you oven cold food, out, hot eat the food?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, good answer. And I got a lovely question thanks to socials here. How are you feeling about a little quiz section?
About what?
I got a list of games and their world records.
Are they still trying to... You know what, Elena, if you want me to do the social segment, you have to come on stage during my run and do it live.
Oh, Elena went for food, I think.
Aw.
Unfortunate.
I'll make the same offer to Trey if he's still hiding back there.
I think they all just left either for food or board games. Maybe both.
They just tweeted the questions at me and then went for board games and didn't invite me to board games?
Well, you're busy.
No, I'm not taking the quiz.
You're not taking the quiz? Okay, well. Unfortunately, I was banking on that taking up quite a bit of time.
All right, hit me with the quiz. We got one more Duck Hunt section.
Well, we'll cherry pick so they can give you the good ones later if they take you up on the offer. How about that?
All right, sounds good.
Halo 3 Easy.
Halo 3 Easy. I believe this is somewhere in the realm of 2 hours. I'm going to say 157.
You were close if you removed the 1.
Really? It's that short?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
59-14.
Wow. I'm genuinely surprised. I remembered Halo being a longer run.
Celeste 100%.
Are we including Chapter 9 in that?
I believe so.
Okay, then I'm gonna say that is a couple of hours. That's gotta be like 2:30.
Again, remove an hour.
Really, 1:30?
Yeah, 1:38.
I figured Farewell would take quite a while.
Farewell is like, in any percent, it's like 45 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. Like, it's got to be like an hour and a half for, base game plus another like hour for Farewell.
Well, actually, that's a lot. That's old numbers. It's way faster than 45.
Sure,
minutes
that's
now.
fair. I'm also thinking of, back when I was really paying attention to Celeste. I'm going to make a safety save here because this stage is notorious for killing runs. Even the best runners on top of their game can absolutely lose a run here. It would also help if I summoned a Trey to sacrifice him properly. I summon you from board games, Trey. Get back up here. We need Shiva.
Unfortunately, I think we're speedrun boomers these days.
Yeah, I hate feeling like I can't believe that it has been 12 years since I went to my first GDQ.
Yeah, I think 11 for me, but pretty darn close.
Yeah.
And we'll cherry pick one more, and we'll save the rest and the fun ones for if they take you up on the offer.
Sounds good.
So Portal glitchless.
Portal glitchless. Like 30 minutes?
Cut it in half.
Really? 15?
Yeah.
I thought that would be the out of bounds time would be like 10 or something, but okay,
Well,
wow.
Portal glitchless is the glitchless category.
Oh, okay.
They do a lot of physics abuse that's not really a glitch. It's
Sure.
just the physics in that game are a bit wonky. But yeah, that is.
All right, I do need a second
1423.
here, Ray.
Okay.
Because this is the second instance of a Snow Squatch that we have. Do I have anything? I can give myself Aura. Aura is not a useful buff, but, I can have it. All right, so Snow Squatches are incredibly dangerous because of that attack right there, where they stab the ground with their fist and a burst of ice. If that hits you, it has a 100% chance to freeze you. And if you are frozen, you are dead. Oh, thank you for the cure, NPC. Your allies can sometimes do something useful. It's rare, but it's possible. Speaking of people who are frozen, hey, Catter's frozen. Thankfully, you do thaw out naturally. You're not, like, actually dead, but in the context of fighting that, Snow Squatch, you are immediately going to get punched.
All right, I think I'll leave you back in the care of Gibby, but I'll remind the audience, if you have questions for Sent, let me know. I'll be walking through the audience. Just raise your hand, and we'll take them down. I think we got one more question segment based on what you said earlier.
We will have a long one and a short one.
Okay. I got muted. Okay, there we go. Just let me know if you have questions. I'll take note, and we'll be back. But for now, I'll leave you with Gibby.
All right, unfortunately, everyone, we have to go back to Type-0. I know that's not what anyone wants to hear. I know the mic dropping is also not what anyone wants to hear, but that is what we have to hear because we are playing Final Fantasy XIV Type-0. Hey, Ray, I'm glad you went somewhere. Hopefully there are questions in the audience because that portion I was talking about is coming up here in a couple minutes. Got a couple screens to go through, and then I'm going to play a section of this stage very safe by basically just standing still for 4 minutes straight. It does solve the problem, and it is very hard to die when you're doing that. However, it is a bit of a time loss. Now, funnily enough, doing the stage naturally only takes about 2, so it's not massive. And Catter died to a random, yeah, that's not great, but we're going to make that work. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, we just need to defeat this behemoth here, as well as a couple of other enemies that will spawn, and then we're basically going to be onto that section. So if you have questions, now is the time to get your hand up and get them in. Jack, please don't die. I really need you alive for the later part of this stage. Jack is trying. He's trying his best to just die on me, and I absolutely don't want that. So I am, once again, going to make a second backup save here because this is another point where things can go kind of horribly wrong. Oh. Okay, well. One of you could, like, hit. That would be lovely. Yep. There we go. These enemies are very annoying to take down if Catter isn't alive because she is the gunner of the party. She's pretty good at taking things out at range. Anyway, because I am down on a couple of cadets here due to the stage being very mean, and because this is a marathon run, I'm going to play it very safe and just sit around here for a few minutes. If you don't have any questions, Ray, I can talk about the lyrics to this great song that's singing, but you're coming up here, so I assume you do. Oh, you got to move Gibby. Sorry, Gibby.
We're not so much moving Gibby as we're just letting Gibby sit on my lap. It's fine. We don't want to interrupt Gibby's a very important commentary. I did get a couple more questions for you.
Hit me.
But I'm also curious about the questions, so we might come back to that. But first of all, what got you into speedrunning?
What got me into speedrunning? A good friend of mine who goes by the online handle of, I believe, Shadow Panther. Shadows Panther? I don't remember. It's been a long time. I'm very sorry if I've forgotten what it exactly was. In college was a Super Metroid speedrunner. And they taught me the route, and Super Metroid was actually the first game that I ever ran. I was terrible at it. Please don't get any bad ideas. But I liked it so much that I kind of branched out and found the community and then learned that, oh yeah, you can speedrun like whatever people speedrun, like Final Fantasy, and people speedrun, all these random Super Nintendo platformers that no one has ever heard of before except OmniGamer.
Yeah, fair.
And that really became my forte for a while. So shout outs to Shadows Panther if you're out there watching. Really appreciate you getting me into this hobby.
Shout outs to Hagane.
Shoutouts to Hagane, who has also played every game that I've touched for some reason.
Oh, I was referring to one of those Super Nintendo platformers that OmniGamer
I'm
plays.
thinking of Hotarubi. I told you, I'm very bad with names, everyone. It's not a personal thing.
All right, we actually got another Type-0 question. I think everybody's just being very stubborn.
All right, hit me. Hit me with Type-0.
What's your favorite character design?
My favorite character design? Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, I gotta go with Ace. In the intro cutscene, he is by far the coolest member of Class 0. He's got the whole summoner cards thing. I wish summoners used cards in 14 instead of the book.
Amazing.
Like, they're so cool.
Do you like the Gambit flip of a card?
Some of his attacks are also really cool. Like, he'll draw a bunch of cards from his deck and then, like, rain them down on people or turn them into laser beams that reflect off of cards. He's a very anime character. He's just unfortunately not a very good character in the speedrun.
A fun character, just not a good character.
Yeah.
That's a mood. If you could be a world record holder in any game, what would you like to be the best at?
What would I like to be the best at if I could magically be the best at any game? Well, you've got me with a good one. I'm kind of stumped.
Well, we can come back to it if you want to percolate on that a little bit.
I think my answer is that I wouldn't. I feel like there's no game I play enough and feel like I've put enough time and effort and energy and love to be deserving of the title of world record. Like, to me, what makes speedrunning great is the collaborative effort of everyone coming together, putting their different strats together, competing against each other for a stronger time. So I don't think I would just want to randomly be like the best Super Mario 64 player.
But also, like, how much of it is the journey of improvement?
Right, exactly.
All right, should I keep going, or are we on a pause here?
This is probably a good place to pause.
Okay, I'll leave you back with Gibby, and we've got one more section, I believe.
Yep, we will have one more section a little bit later. So here we want to, again, just for safety, take away every member of the party except the one that we are going to sacrifice to Shiva here. This Flyvern is going to open up with a laser blast attack, and then it should dive. There's the dive. Once it dives, we hit the break site there, we hit the kill site on Sanzashi, and the fight is over. If you miss any part of that, things get really rough. We're going to bring out 8 here because 8 is just the fastest character that we still have available. And there's immediately a rest area, so, Okay, yeah, we have plenty of characters, so we should be in a pretty good spot. We need to run down to the bottom of this derelict ship and find our new enemies and greatest nemesis in the run, the Dracoboltians. The Dracoboltians are notable because they have an instant kill attack regardless of how much health your characters have. And you'd think that wouldn't matter with how underleveled we are, but characters being controlled by the AI actually only take half damage and use a third of the resources that they normally would. So, characters being controlled by the AI can be eaten by the Dracoboltians, which will instantly kill them. This is really not good. What is also really not good is that Jack is poisoned. Jack, how did you get poisoned? What have you been... I genuinely, like, I think there's an enemy that spawns in some of those rooms that can poison, but... Oh, Shiva's being too fast. Oh, come on. There we go. I'm going to heal first, but we do want to swap off of Shiva here and onto an active character because the next wave of Dracoboltians does not spawn until you harvest the first wave. And Shiva can actually do pretty good cleanup work here. I should have brought out Rem. She is way faster. 9 is the second slowest character in the party, only next to Jack, who is about to get eaten by a Dracoboltian. Nope, we're good. You see, my strategy is I'm going to jinx it so that it doesn't happen because I said it would happen. You gotta play the odds. You're either correct or you're incorrect, but it's good. That's the strategy, everyone. Rim is, I believe, our third or fourth fastest character, dodging. Definitely not the most viewer-friendly way to get through this area, but it works. You might notice I'm taking some weird lines. That's because I'm actually outrunning the ice that's breaking here. However, the ice still exists and has invisible walls that prevents you from walking over the broken sections. So we're going to get one last spawn of Shiva in here to defeat these Wingburns and a couple of waves of Dracoboltians, and then we will have the boss fight against Shinryu Celestia, the leader of the Blue Dragon people. And it is quite a fight. It is that gigantic dragon that you saw at the beginning of the game with the multiple heads and the glowing red eyes. It's pretty scary. It's a pretty challenging fight. I'm going to need so much serious time to be able to do it. So, Ray, I'm going to have to ask you to not give me questions for at least a couple minutes here. That was not a call for you to come give me questions. I know my sarcasm is thick, but sometimes it's real. Anyway, we need to get rid of 4 waves total of these Dracoboltians. If we're lucky, Shiva will, like that, just kind of drive by. Oh, yeah, there we go. Rim almost got hit by the one-hit kill attack, but luckily we were able to kill the Dracoboltian before it did anything. Although, Okay. I'm just going to stop talking, apparently. I'm cursing myself. Thank you, Shiva, for finishing the job. And that is the last screen we needed anyone else up on, so we are perfectly good. So here is Shinryu Celestia. Massive dragon, tons of health. When I get a lock on, we will see what level she is. But it's pretty high. I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to... Oh, no, I lost. Well, that's a shame. The game doesn't fully expect you to be able to win this fight from a narrative perspective. You actually can, and it was faster even in the speedrun context for a long time. But we discovered the dumbest AI manipulation strat ever, and I will hold my hand out for the audience for this one. So, for this upcoming fight, the game wants you to charge up... I know I'm not holding it out to the camera. I'm holding it out to the PAX audience. I'm very sorry, stream. The game wants you to charge up Terra Flare to defeat the boss as Bahamut Zero. However, the boss will attack you and interrupt you if it senses you charging. However, if you start this fight by just not pushing any button on the controller, and then once you gain control, start holding down the flare button, you can charge up a Giga Flare, which is enough to completely deplete the boss's health and then charge a Terra Flare for free. That is actually my favorite addition to the speedrun. I don't know why it works, but it's pretty great. Sometimes, unfortunately, the boss doesn't want to cooperate, though, and you gotta wait a second for it to fall over. Yeah, come on. Come on, there we go. You do have to hit the break site on Shinryu here before you can charge up to Terra Flare. Even using that AI manipulation strategy, she will eventually attack because the game's like, hey, wait a minute. You cannot let them charge Terra Flare. That ends the fight. You also can't win the fight any other way than with Terra Flare, but you wouldn't want to because this is the most anime cutscene that we're allowed to watch during the run. Anime. This goes on for way too long. She's still taking damage. She's not on screen anymore, but in the game's code, she is still taking damage until we fade out of this screen. Is it overkill? Probably. I was looking for about a 15-minute Frozen Cloud, so honestly, 16-minute, with how poorly that went, I will absolutely take that. Now we're going to be moving on to the best part of any Final Fantasy game, the battle on the big bridge. And I promise you, it features one big bridge. We got one. There will be a battle going on throughout the excursion to the big bridge. I cannot promise you how much we will be participating in that battle. But first, we're going to spend all of our money on ethers because we like MP. MP's pretty good. We're going to call back as many people as we can. Bring the whole crew. And deploy our usual suspects. Battle at the Big Bridge is also another stage where things can start going horribly wrong if people die in weird ways. So I will likely be making another safety save. This is also a stage that can just randomly soft lock. And again, this game does not autosave. So if I soft lock and have not saved in a while, the run might be over. I am just tempering everyone's expectations for that. The chance of it happening is honestly very low. It's like 5%. But it's not 0. Anyway, as you can see, there might be something of a battle going on. There certainly are a lot of Magitech armors here. The game actually expects you not to be able to defeat all of these. It wants you to just kind of hold them off until that support counter counts down, and you will get like a cool artillery strike that you can put somewhere on the battlefield to destroy them. However, we have Shiva, and that's good enough. And I did not hit the swap off command fast enough. That is not good enough. Once again, we are faced with many problems. And once again, we have one solution that fits all problems. That solution is Shiva. She is just going to dance all over these enemies. Now, this room is actually kind of interesting. We used to thought you had to kind of like kill everything in order as you went through it. But as it turns out, if you just, kind of run back to this Magitech armor, you can get the bridge moving up immediately, and that drastically speeds up the area. Also, fun fact, you can go into that door and fight guards in the guardhouse. There is no reason to do that. You can. This is why I'm the lore master of the game. Who else would know that? So this is one of the places that can soft lock. Shiva is actually so fast that she can run off the bridge while it's going up and clip into unpathable terrain. And if you can't get rid of the enemies that are left alive, she is just permanently stuck there. It is kind of a problem. The other thing that can happen is you can use the same trick we did earlier where you leave and re-enter the room to skip this animation. However, if you do that, there is a chance that the game just soft locks in the cutscene after this room. We believe that soft lock has something to do with Shiva despawning because the despawn would be right about when this cutscene started at the same time, and that maybe there's a safe way to get the cutscene to work if we make sure that we let Shiva despawn before we enter the next room. But, again, marathon safety. Marathon safety is a great excuse for anything, by the way. If you ever need to do something awkward, just say marathon safety. Okay. Okay. That was a bit of a panic, I don't have an item to heal Jack moment. But we made it work. It's fine. So this is a safe area that immediately goes into a cutscene that asks us to split the party. We are, getting pincer attacked, so we need to send someone back to deal with the forces, and then we need to send someone off to deal with the Magitech jammer field. Now, which cadet do you think we're sending back? Only our strongest person, right? That's right, it's Shiva. I don't know what else you expected. Of course it's Shiva. And if we have plenty of content to go over, Ray, now is actually not a bad time because I am just going to have to pop enemies here for a solid, minute or so.
Hello.
Welcome back.
I've got a couple questions here for you.
Hit me.
I think some of these are because you mentioned Final Fantasy XIV, so of course the FF14 questions are going to come.
Of course.
But I did have a question, an interesting question about the game first. Do any graphics settings have an effect on the run?
As far as we know, no. There has not been extensive testing done on them, and I actually did not change the graphics settings from the default because obviously I'm not playing on the normal PC that I would be playing on. But as far as we know, they have no bearing on the run.
And then we've got a gauntlet of FF14 questions for you. So what's your favorite minion in Final Fantasy XIV?
Ooh, I'm going to go with Otter Otter. Otter Otter and its varieties.
Oh, so like a Broader Otter?
Like a Broader Otter, yeah. All the Otter Otters.
They're great. Can definitely get behind that answer.
Starbird if it would ever drop for me.
Yeah, that one's tough. What's your favorite Final Fantasy XIV boss?
In terms of design, to fight, there's so many ways to take that question.
You could give us more than one answer.
I could. Give me 1 second to make sure that I set this up properly, and I will think about it. I gotta go with O12S, specifically Phase 1 of O12S.
So that's an Omega final phase.
Omega M, Omega F.
Yep.
I think they are just an incredible boss fight that requires a lot of game knowledge and good movement from the party and understanding of mechanics. It's super fun. It was super well tuned, and I think it's my favorite raid fight that I've ever done, at an appropriate gear level.
It's a blade first this time, Senate, not shield. So move for blade. And then, what's your favorite Final Fantasy XIV expansion?
My favorite expansion. Recency bias is really messing with me here because I loved the second half of Dawn Trail. I think the second half was super good. I have feelings about the first half that I won't get into right now, but that second half had me feeling stuff. I think I got to go with Endwalker, though. It was just a conclusion to such a wonderful story that's been built up through the years, and they really did a lot of cool things tying up a lot of loose ends. I did not expect the Heart of Sabik to come back as a plot point of all things.
Unleash Ultima!
Unleash Ultima! From the pinnacle of the heavens to the depths, or no, it's the other way around. It's from the depths of the hells to the pinnacles of the very heavens. Yeah, that's great. Also, keep going, by the way, because I'm going to sit here for a minute and kill these guards. Keter, why are you dead?
All right, so if we got a long period here, I've got a great time filler for you here. Our wonderful producer over there asked you to pitch, if this was at a main line, what would your perfect prize for this run be? If you could get any prize from anyone, what would be your favorite way to pitch a prize for this run?
I would ask my good friends, Cute Monster Props and Storyteller Cosplay, to put together the cadet outfit.
Oh, okay. That'd be really cool.
Because I think they would do a great job at it, and I think at least I would have a ton of fun wearing, the cadet outfit with the cape and maybe one of the character's weapons.
You realize that if this happened with the context that you'd be wearing it on stage, they would absolutely send you a skirt.
I will wear, Queen's outfit. I'll wear Catter's outfit. It's fine. It's for charity. It's for the run. Obviously not here. We're just doing this to have a good time, but at a main line.
How much more time do we have?
We still have another solid 30 seconds, and even then, I can answer questions. At this point, this is not a scary stage. We have gotten past the danger.
What is your favorite job in 14?
Favorite job in 14? I am a red mage main by trade, but I have learned to love a lot of other jobs. I think for tank, it's got to be warrior. For healer, it's got to be sage. Melee DPS, I'm going to go reaper. And range DPS, I will go dancer.
Okay. Good range of variety there. I remember you being regretful that you didn't go red mage at the battle challenge at East.
Yeah, well, we needed the reses. that might have been less of a... I was on a black mage kick at the time, but as it turned out, we needed the reses.
It's all right. I had your back.
You did. You were a great healer, Ray.
All right, question for the audience. Are you having fun? I think that's a yes.
I'm glad someone is. No, I'm having a good time. I am forgetting the safe zones because I'm having so much of a good time. That's the excuse I'm going with. I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah, believable.
Very
well delivered.
What else you got for me, Ray? The ending of the stage is pretty tame.
I'm pondering because I actually ran out. Well, I'll come up with something here for you.
All good. I mean, I can always talk about Type-0 and the fun of the game if that's what we... I guess we could talk about the game you're watching on stream if that's what people want to know about.
What's your favorite absurd moment? Because what I've gotten from this game is that there's a lot of absurd moments. So which one is just... Gets you every time?
I will go with the disclaimer that Final Fantasy Type-0 is an M-rated game, and it earns that M rating in earnest. While we played the game off as very goofy and very silly, a lot of the content is talking about very deep and serious issues, and I encourage anyone who wants to play this game to go into the game with the understanding that there are going to be some very heavy moments.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I cannot talk about my favorite moment that I think is zany because it is also one of those things that is just inappropriate to say in a place like PAX. However, I think the funniest thing that I could definitely talk about is at the end of the game, after we fight Kator 2, he realizes that his mech that he is fighting you in is been secretly loaded with the Ultima Bomb. I wanted to gesture for that so much, I didn't look at where I was driving. He's got the Ultima Bomb, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a bomb that it casts Ultima, and he realizes, oh no, if I lose this fight, the Ultima Bomb will go off and destroy our nation. So he flies into space and just has a heroic Ultima Bomb death. And it is the most over-the-top weird thing imaginable. And I love it.
All right, I've got a question based on that and your previous commentary.
Go for it.
Why doesn't he get a shield enemy to stand in front of him?
That would work. Katar, what were you doing? You could have just gotten a shield enemy. Anyway, here's Gilgamesh. Every big bridge needs a Gilgamesh.
Song.
Fun fact, this is actually the original Gilgamesh. All other Gilgameshes come from this Gilgamesh. Oh, I forgot to play.
Oh.
That's fine. Gilgamesh just wants a good fight, so if you're not a good fight, he'll leave you alone and walk away. We will actually have to fight Gilgamesh a bit later into the run. We don't get away from him for free. Don't have to fight him on the big bridge. 10:25 is somehow a good time for, again, how much of a disaster that actually was. I'm only an hour and a half in. We might come in underestimate.
Woo! We've also been distracting you a little bit.
That's okay. I've been distracting myself more. Nothing super important here. We just need to make sure we swap to Seiss because, again, for whatever reason, she's the only character that gets a move speed bonus in town with or without Accelerate. And go ahead and trigger the third and last of the RTS segments of the game. Like the previous ones, we do not have to participate, and we don't have to participate in universe. We are actively telling our commanding officer, nah, I don't feel like going. And they're just like, okay, cool.
This is like an active war zone.
Yeah, no, a war is active. Also, you'll notice our commander's gone. Don't worry about that. He's just taking a nap, a really long nap for the rest of the game.
So your commander is a Moogle now?
The Moogle is our commander now is more like the answer. All of the classes have a Moogle, actually, not just Class 0. You can see some of the other Moogles in the run. Class 1's Moogle is hanging out outside the front door, and you never want to click on Class 1's Moogle because, again, you got to comment about the Moogle, and it takes up a bunch of time. It's really annoying. Anyway, here's the worst part of the main quest, where unlike every other mission where you accept the mission and go march, here you have to talk to that guy who says, hey, Class 0 sucks. You're all not really cool. The other soldiers are way cooler. Okay, go to war now.
And we're going to decline again?
Sorry, what?
We're going to decline to go to war again?
No, we're actually going to go to war for the longest mission in the game. By far. Absolutely. By now, you should know that everything I say is a lie.
I almost walked onto stage when you're giving me the sarcasm.
I know, I had
about
to
not
turn
giving
and
you
tell
questions.
you not to. There is one cutscene right here. Let's see if I can dodge it. Hey, I dodged it. There's also not a cutscene there.
See? My point.
That's the wrong person. You know what? Just for posterity, I'll do it with the right person. Anyway, we're only bringing one cadet to this mission because that's all we need. This cutscene, for whatever reason, is skippable, but only after about 30 seconds. I don't know why. It's not hiding the load of the stage because there's another cutscene immediately after it that is immediately skippable, regardless of when you skip this one. Anyway, so hey, look, it's that cutscene I was talking about where we have Ketor in his mech again. He's gotten a speed upgrade, and as you can imagine, with normal speed that you would have here, he is unbelievably fast. The strategy for this fight is called Hope He Dies.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah, if you hit a break site, he will basically instantly die. But man, that's hard to do. Luckily, I hoped he died, and he did. And that's the end of the mission. We're done. I don't know why that's its own separate thing. 31 seconds is really good. That can last up to like 80 seconds if he just trolls you and flies around the outside of the arena. Even at 3 times speed, it's really hard to catch him when he does not want to be caught.
All right, I have a very important lore question.
Yo, hit me with it.
So all the random Moogles floating around in the school, those are somebody, each class's like commander?
They're not, it's more like each class's mascot. It's just that our commander is dead, so the Moogle is now our commander.
I mean, he's just away for a while.
Right, sorry. He's on a vacation. So this is the point in the game where we have to walk back to the main city. And one of the main story points that I haven't really talked about that gets explained very early on is this is a world where when characters die, they're completely forgotten. Nobody can remember you when you're gone. And it's a world in constant war, so people are just kind of being forgotten left and right. This is a walk back where normally we have very somber music, and the game wants us to think about all the people that we've lost on both sides and all of the horrible things that we've done as part of this war. But we want to go home quickly, so you get to listen to Chocobo music for 30 seconds.
30 minutes.
30 minutes of Chocobo.
That's the rest of the run.
I'm going to put the controller down, and y'all can just listen to Boko de Chocobo.
That would be an amazing end of the run in absurdist terms, maybe not the most entertaining.
I won't lie, before the run started, I had an idea to guarantee that I got a world record.
Oh no.
There's a category of this game that nobody has run because we have collectively as a community agreed it's stupid. But you can do a bad ending at the very end of the game. And I almost, for a minute, was like, what if I just did bad ending and then claimed world record live at PAX? But no, we're going to see the actual end. We'll get the cool final boss and everything. I still actually haven't timed if it's faster to go around the crater this way or go the other screen. I am sure my phone is buzzing right now because someone in the Discord is yelling at me for going that way.
Are they yelling because you're correct, or they're yelling because you're wrong?
They're yelling because I'm wrong. I'm always wrong, Ray. Have you not worked with me long enough to know that?
Well, so you predicted that you'd be wrong. So maybe you were wrong about being wrong and you're correct?
See, my mind games are working, audience. Try it. Now, you might notice that there's a lot of people on the ground and everything is red and it's raining inside. I recommend just not noticing. It's all fine. And if you can understand Japanese, there's a lot of plot going on here.
スザクでは委員長を含めた各局長とも連絡が取れなくなる。主義やマキナも
This game is available in English, by the way. I have purposefully turned it to Japanese,
失った候補生たちが
mostly to confuse the audience.
世界を凌辱しているルルサスに殺されて
I haven't looked behind me. There could be no audience back there. It could just be you and me in this room alone.
Don't forget about Gibby.
Oh, and Gibby. I apologize.
Gibby's been doing an excellent job on commentary.
イリーゼンの存在が露見し
So here we are preparing to move into the final segment of the run. There is only one more mission left. Now, you're looking at the timer and you're seeing, hey, there's like 30 minutes left in the estimate, what gives? It's a very long mission, so don't worry, we're not going to be calling time in the next like 5 minutes here. We got some time left in the run.
Sounds like I should leave you with Gibby then.
Yep, we're gonna have that last Q&A segment here in a couple of minutes. So if people have questions, now is the time to get them in. And I have been talking and went to the wrong door. Don't ask that question. Sent, why did you walk to the wrong door? The answer, because I'm stupid, and that's okay. A lot of cutscenes here, obviously a lot of important plot stuff going on. We need to walk into here, then we're gonna need to go up to that command area and talk to whoever's left to be in charge in command, talk to a few people around the base, go back to our classroom to formulate a plan of what we're doing, and then finally we will head off for the final area. I was also so flustered by what I just did that I forgot to change to Seiss. You should change to Seiss. She's a lot faster than Ace. I just wanted you all to get more of this lovely 3-second music loop.
手の空いている方は負傷者の治療にご協力ください
It's very somber.
候補生は持ち場を離れず防衛態勢を整えてください
As we get into the last area of the run, something important to note is we are actually going to lose access to a couple of things. First off, Machina has been gone from the party for several missions because Machina is not useful, and that is just a fact of life. However, we are also going to permanently lose Rem. She will never be in the party after we head to Pandemonium, the final area of the game. And on top of that, we are going to lose our ability to summon Eidolons. So we are actually going to have to rely on our party members' individual strengths for the rest of the run. We're doomed. But after a couple cutscenes here, we will be in the final section. The game gives you a little warning. Hey, you can't come back from Pandemonium. Make sure you go out and do all the fun world stuff. If you wanted to get 100% speedrun done, now is your time to leave and do things. Nobody has routed that. Nobody wants to get 100% speedrun done. Please don't do that. Please instead go to Pandemonium and finish things. That's Sid. He's now a giant floating metal eyeball thing with fire. Don't worry too much about it. He's good. Everything's good. How are you, audience? You doing good? All right, I heard a couple of woos. There's got to. Why am I looking at the screen? Nothing's happening. Yeah, we got a good audience out there. Thanks for being here with me, everyone. I appreciate it. Anyway, our party has to declare that, you know, we're going to be the victors because we're the anime protagonists, and then it's time to split up, gang. If you'd like to finish your line, Sid, come on, I'd like to move on. There we go. So what we want to do is make sure that we have 8 in the first party, and then Keter in the second. 8 is the second fastest character in our party. He's actually tied with Keter, but we don't get him his accelerate ability anymore in the run. He's got pretty poor magic, but thankfully this route you don't really have to do anything. So now instead of secret orders at this part of the game, you have Sid's Crucible, which is basically just kind of Sid saying, hey, solve my riddle or be unable to progress. I put Deuce in this party? Oh, well, it's fine. And here is the last major waiting point of the run. The trial in this room is that we have to survive for 2 minutes. This would be fairly arduous, except for the fact that these things are slow, and we are not. I'll probably kill them just absent-mindedly because it's something to do. So the way the Versun Reavers work is if they hit you, you get a kill sight on you, meaning that if they hit you again, you are instantly dead. Thankfully, the Reavers' attacks only work for Reavers, so if another enemy hits you while you have a kill sight, you're actually perfectly fine. Weirdly, they're some of the least threatening enemies in the game, despite being the latest because of that, and also because their level scales based on the average level of the party minus 10. So because our party is on average so low level, they are level 2. And as such, are fairly killable with the stats and equipment we have. We got another minute of this. Anyone got anything on the show floor they're really looking forward to trying out? I haven't gotten to move around it as much as I'd like today practicing for this run. Yeah, this was a poorly formulated idea. I don't think I can hear anything through these headphones. Ray, I know you're trying to whisper something in my ear, but there's a talkback mic on the mixer, and I can't hear you.
I wasn't unmuted. Would you like questions?
Oh, there we go. Well, I actually have just finished the waiting portion of this segment. However, there will be some time later where it really doesn't matter, so don't worry. There'll be one last opportunity. All right, so this trial is especially dangerous. What we need to do is walk down this hallway twice. Can we ever do that? So the trick is if you get hit during either of these runs, it resets you back to the beginning of the hallway. We have 3 times movement speed, so that was not much of a trial. And here the party, notices that somehow like all the different nation capitals are somehow in this interdimensional space with Sid, the Grand Arbiter, and they just never really expand on it past that. They're like, oh, hey. That's weird. Anyway. So this room is the room where the targeting is bad. What you need to do is you need to hit the 6 candles of expiation on the wall there before you kill this Reaver. Otherwise, you fail the trial. The targeting wants to target everything but the candles. And if you leave the room too quickly, it doesn't count. I was about to say that, and then I left the room. There we go. Yeah, that's an annoying thing that can happen. Again, I think the game just doesn't expect you to be so fast as to be able to leave the room before you get the full absorb there, but it happens. Anyway, here's the Iron Giant. We call him the slot machine. Why? Because there's a chance he just has a kill sight right there, and you don't have to watch this animation. I did not get that chance. We're gonna watch this animation. He sure is stomping. My party has cast Wall. Wall doesn't do anything. I don't know why Wall is an option. I have missed the kill site. It's okay, the giant is dead. Oh. Okay, I thought I accidentally mashed Become Lucy. That's the bad ending. If you choose Become Lucy, the run is over, you get a bad ending. Was really worried there because of the button I was hitting, but it's perfectly fine. So this is the maze. We need to remember to go north, east, west, east, north, south in that order. That counts as north. I was going to ask you all to remember that at the start of the run and do a little callback of it here, but I completely forgot due to how poorly things have gone. And you know what? I kind of expected that, and that's perfectly fine. Also, I lied. There are more tonberries. West. And then we're gonna go east, north, south, and then we will be done with this area. Now, something I need to do sooner or later is items, equip, put on my ethers, and while I'm here, I'll just use a mega ether. We're gonna be burning through our ether supply at the end of this run because we need to cast a lot of spells. Hopefully this is the point where I go north. I lost track because I chose to equip there, but I'm pretty sure it is. And if it's not, we'll have fun exploring a maze together. Doesn't that sound like a good use of your evening, PAX? Somebody thinks it is, and that someone is wrong, but I appreciate the woo regardless. Oh, yep, out of mana. Hard to tell when you're out of mana sometimes because characters have different mana pools, so the bar is a little deceiving. Now, once again, we are going to split the party. And for this party, I want to make sure I take 8 queen and slice. And then the second party, cat or tray ace. Yep. So in this room, we need to kill a bunch of flans and the Ruruses, but the gimmick is that the floor is lava. We can dodge roll through it, so it's not completely impassable. Whoop. Nope, did not want that. Mega potion. But it does hurt quite a bit. Like, we do not actively want to be taking hits from this floor, at least until, you know, Queen is no longer useful to us. Our end goal at this point in the game is to get to the end with as few characters alive as possible, because the final boss is basically an unwinnable fight into a scripted cutscene fight. I'm going to be honest, it's a little bit of a letdown of a final boss, but I give it a pass because it's kind of cool. Anyway, once the room's done, we want to switch to 8, because again, he is our fastest character that we have. He also has Blizzard Bomb, which is going to be really useful in the next room. So this is the room that all speedrunners dread. This is the magic room. In this room, you are only allowed to use magic. If you use your physical attack for any reason, you instantly die and have to restart the room. It is very easy to accidentally use a physical attack because, oh, that enemy only has like 1 health. I'll just get the last hit with a physical. It's cool. It is not cool. Do not do that. It will cause problems. I know this from experience. Every runner of this game knows that from experience. Made more annoying by the enemies in this room being just insufferable. There we go. Oh my! Like that. Exactly like that. Well. Yep. Okay, well, that is really unfortunate, honestly. And I am going to have to just kind of come up with some stuff on the fly to get out of these last few rooms, but, you know, sometimes the game just does that to you, and you gotta react. You gotta adapt. We were actually just talking in the Discord earlier today about how Trials really makes or breaks a run these days, just because you are so low level, and it is so easy to mess up one of these rooms and lose a crucial character. And I mean, once you're down 1 crucial character, you know, the run becomes exponentially harder.
先に進むことは許可し
What do I still have? I still have Jack. Okay, I still have Jack. We are okay. As long as I have Jack going into the end of this area, we are perfectly fine.
行くよ
I will just try not to have XX characters die here to give me a little bit of buffer.
こんな余興も用意
This room is pretty simple. The idea is that you just need to pop all 4 of these pillars, and you want to make sure you don't get the last one until the torches around that giant flaming eyeball are lit. Like that. It doesn't really matter where you hit it here. The room has to rotate all the way to the point where the door is accessible. As you can see the door over there. So this is, again, a bit of downtime. Not that much downtime, though. I see Ray moving in my peripheral vision. I do appreciate all the questions, everyone. I hope that having your questions answered has been fulfilling, and I thank you for them because it has given me something more interesting to talk about than Type-0 during this run, which frankly is what we should all aspire for.
あ、総流なのか。
行くぞ言われなくても
I guess.
これくらいはやってもらおう
So this room is going to be a little awkward. The trial in this room is you can only use physical attacks, which is harder to mess up. However, a majority of the enemies in this room are these ranged bombs. And normally you want somebody like Trey or let's see, who else? Ace or Keter alive to take care of them for you. Unfortunately, I have lost all of them. That's not great. And the bomb explosions can do quite a bit of damage, so... Sorry if I have to play this a little weird or a little slow, but I absolutely need Jack to be alive by the end of this room to have any chance of finishing. But luckily... Yep, there we go. The bomb has exploded, and we are perfectly fine.
ここが玄武だというのか。
If anyone's wondering, oh, the world record run's done by now. This is not the world record run. This has not been a great run. But again, I'm just happy to have been here, happy to have been at PAX, happy to have the opportunity to show this game off to people, to answer some questions, and to find new and interesting ways to mess things up. So assignment, let's just go Jack Sice 7 to play that squad, and we are going to make a safety save because this could be very bad if something were to go wrong. I think of these 3, Sice is actually the fastest because we get her accelerate, even though she's a fairly slow character in general. But, you know, it's not a huge difference at this point, frankly. The fastest characters are like twice the speed of the others. Well, didn't expect that to hit. Who do I want?
これも乱熟した生命の一つだ戦いの果てにある
So this is supposed to be showing off the new enemy that Sid has created, the Super Versan Reaver. Super Versan Reaver. What? Okay, I'm confused at why 8 could not land a punch there, but this is still perfectly fine. I just need Jack alive. We can make this work. I'm going to have a very interesting final boss segment, I've just realized, because of the characters available to me. Once again, I'm just going to make a safety save. No point in having something go completely wrong this far into the run, regardless of, you know, how poorly the end of it has gone. So the challenge in this room is simply defeat these enemies without dying. It's not terribly difficult. It's just a couple of Reavers. However, the room is full of poison, so you will constantly take just a little bit of damage as you go through it. Usually not a huge problem, not enough damage to matter, but it can stack up, especially on a party that is already hurt from other things. And then this room is more Jacobaltians. Ideally, you want to have a character who has some good blizzard bombs and can just blizzard bomb them. However, we've run out of those, so Jack is just going to have to do some work. Luckily, more than capable of it. I'm going to bring out Queen here. And to get to the final boss, we just need to go through these 4 gates, each one kind of representing a different city-state of the nations that we've been through. Root room is probably the easiest of the 4. You just need to dispatch a couple of those, and then in this room, some enemies will spawn. Oh, you're a Thunder Shotgunner. And then dispatch a golem at the end. We actually get the golem Eidolon during the run, but as you could tell from that fight, it is incredibly slow and not super useful. We get the Ifrit Eidolon as well. It is a little more useful, but unfortunately it has the flaw of being very slow at base and then having a very fast dash attack. And while we really wanted to make something work with that, you can't actually use the dash unless you have a valid target. If you could, it might actually be faster than Shiva in some places. Anyway, the challenge in that room was to defeat the invisible enemies. I'm putting invisible in as many air quotes as possible because invisible just means they don't show up and you can still target them. So, not really sure what the challenge is. Whoop. This is the fight against 2 annoying mechs. Normally, Kater has the ability to just instantly take both of these out with her gun. However, we don't have Kater, so we are improvising. And the improvisation went, I mean, I'm alive, so I will take it. Okay, only one more door left, and this one is unfortunately the challenging one. This one is the fight against Gilgamesh. So I am going to deploy solo Jack and save over that safety save because Jack is the harder way to fight this boss. I actually prefer to do it with Kater or Ace. Because they have a way easier time of hitting his break site here cleanly. But Jack can do it too. Now, the challenge of this fight comes in the fact that you are getting pelted by artillery constantly, and that artillery can and will just completely mess up your chance to damage Gilgamesh. Or completely stop your charge ability from working. So I'm going to play it safe here. You could get a few more hits there, but I just really want to make sure that We get the timing right, get the charge in. Yep, again. It can ruin your break site timing and just hit you out of your attacks, and it's completely random. We have found no way to manipulate exactly where those blasts fall. But hey, that was frankly a fairly clean fight, all things considered. I appreciate the applause. I feel like the last person standing on the Titanic right now, but that's okay because we're going to see the end of the run, and that's what matters. Now, we do need to do one last trial before the end of the run, and it is as simple as running up a gigantic spire that is slowly filling with blood. Don't worry about it. It's perfectly fine. We have a lot of characters left. We don't have a lot of fast characters left. But 6 is actually pretty good, and King is going to be very useful right after this segment. Ray, this is going to be the last chance to get some questions in before the end of the run if you want to hop up here in a minute.
Let me know when.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm just running up the spiral, and then we're going to hobble down a hallway for like 2 minutes.
All right. I liked this question from the crowd. If you could be best friends with any Final Fantasy character, who would you pick?
Oh, best friends with any Final Fantasy character. Oh, I'm going to need to think about that one for a minute. There's...
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, no, there's some options there.
Oh, you were not kidding about hobbling.
Yeah, no, we are going to hobble down this hallway. King is actually, we believe, the fastest character at this. Though getting to this first one, it doesn't really matter. Everyone gets there in about the same number of rolls. This isn't even the hallway, Ray.
Oh.
God, any Final Fantasy character. Rem seems pretty cool. Like, not Rem, Realm.
Realm, okay.
Realm seems pretty cool. Like, the ability to paint things into existence is a cool power to have for your friends. And, you know, just kind of a carefree, outgoing person to complement my my introverted self.
Yeah, and if we go by speedrunning lore, she can break the very existence of the universe.
Probably. Equip anything to anyone. What else you got, Ray? We got this hallway to tumble down.
If you could summon any FF summon in real life, who would you pick?
Ooh, any summon of my choice. Are summons that are...
Summons, Eidolons, Guardian Forces, Primals.
I mean... Perfect Alexander, but that feels like a cheating answer, right?
That does feel like a cheating
The ability
answer.
to control and manipulate time and fate is just too overpowered.
Don't forget, we learned at Dragon Song Surprise that changing one thing in history can have drastic consequences.
Yeah, but Perfect Alexander can just change anything unless specifically in a group of 8 adventurers beats him up. Can't change that.
That's true. What would you name your Chocobo?
Well, I have named my Chocobo in 14, so I could go with that answer. But, I mean... I don't know. I'd probably just call it my Chocobo. Am I in a world with multiple Chocobos?
We'll say yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably just call it like Choco or something. I don't think I get a creatively named Chocobo when it comes down to it.
Respectable. Okay.
Okay, so because of all the characters that have died, we now have a 1 in 3 chance of absolute disaster for the last phase of this final boss. It's not unwinnable. At this point, the game is good. However, the character you start with in the phase of this fight that matters is one of the last 3 characters that died. And I still had Deuce and Sync in my party, the 2 slowest characters possible. So if 9 is actually one of the best, if we roll 9, we are great. If we roll Deuce, that's actually probably the second best option. If we roll Sync, I will cry live on stream. Let's go.
Do you have time for one more while we're waiting to see what happens?
Let me see who I roll, and then we'll have time for one more. Oh, hey. We rolled 9. Hopefully I get to show off the jump strat. So 9's jump is actually completely invincible, so... Yeah, you can just jump straight through the sword strike. It's really cool. Now we need to harvest these 12 Phantoma to end the run. Time will be when I grab the last one, so just be aware of that production. I'll call it. Give me more questions, Ray. We're just gonna pop this boss like an angry zit.
Thanks for that.
No problem.
What's your favorite version of Sid across all Final Fantasy games?
I actually really like Type-0 Sid. He's a very compelling villain. Like, he sells it really well in this game if you actually pay attention to the story.
I think 14 especially taught us the popularity of a good villain. There's so many villains that people love in that game, so I can get by that answer. We had a question from the crowd asking, is there any difference timing-wise based for what language you use?
We don't believe so. There is a thought that maybe the English dialogue actually saves an incredibly small amount of time when Sid is monologuing at you at the very start of this area. But if it does, it's such a small amount of time that it doesn't matter.
And I feel like this question was bound to come eventually. How many times have you played this game through to completion?
100? I genuinely don't know. I mean, I've been running this on and off for 7 years, so...
Yes, that feels a little low, honestly.
8 years, maybe? Yeah, I mean, I genuinely don't know at this point. I'm just guesstimating. I mean, each run is 2 hours long.
Yeah.
And that doesn't count, like, you know, practicing certain stages
for sure.
separately. You know what I mean. Anyway, with this many Phantoma harvested, Sid is just down on the ground, and the rest of these hits are essentially free. So go ahead and give me a couple of questions after I go over one last thing. There's 2 ways to defeat Sid here. You can go the fast way or the cool way. I should go the fast way because I'm going to be about a minute over estimate. However, at this point, I want to do the cool way to beat Sid, so I'm going to do it, and I don't think production can stop me. Anyway, hit me with the questions, Ray.
I don't think production wants to stop you. I think you've made Blaze very curious what the cool way is now.
Production's giving me a thumbs up, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's how slow sync attacks, so that's why we really didn't want her first.
All right, so we asked about, like, who do you want as a best friend in Final Fantasy? Since you answered this villain, Sid is your favorite Sid, who would you want to be your, like, arch rival from the Final Fantasy universe?
Y'shtola. Y'shtola, or maybe, oh my god, Shantoto.
Shantoto would be a very dangerous arch rival.
Yeah, but that's what makes it fun.
You might think it's a friendly rivalry, and Shantoto probably wouldn't.
Fair, but neither would Y'shtola. If you were actually strong enough to rival her. Anyway, here's the final character. Deuce has been completely useless all this run. Her purpose has been to be as low level as possible so that we didn't have too many levels to make the verses higher level. The way Deuce attacks is with song. So we're going to defeat God with the power of band camp.
Hell yeah.
I also have to do nothing to do this. I'm just going to put my controller behind my back. Anyway, give me one last question for the road.
I mean, what's your favorite Final Fantasy song?
My favorite Final Fantasy song? There are so many incredible songs, so many great ones in 14. I'm going to go with the beginning of the end from Type-0 and... Hey, Blaze? That's time. I appreciate the applause. Only 2 minutes over estimate. That was maybe the worst run of this game I have had in like 5 years. Everything went wrong. I still can't believe I had the spectacular moment of talking about how attacking in the magic room is really easy to do and horribly detrimental to the stage. And then I immediately did it. And that was not a bit. I was like, oh yeah, it's got a kill site. I'll just tap it real quick.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, anyway, thank you all so much for watching this run. Audience, thank you so much for being here. Final Fantasy Type-0 community over on Discord, thank you all so much for taking this game to heights and places that I never thought possible. I hope all of you in the audience have enjoyed not only this run, but all of the runs that we've put on today as part of Games Done Quick at PAX 2024. We're here at West. We're going to be here all week. So people at home, people in the room, don't worry. You can come back by tomorrow, 11 a.m. We've got another full day of speed runs for you to check out. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. And oh, wait, Ray, I forgot to tell people that they could follow me.
Yes.
You can follow me, but I'm just going to the bathroom, so you probably don't want to.